This is an old friend of mine, Land Rover Defender. This is a V8, about 10 years old. I had one for 8 years, and it's a lovely feeling of nostalgia, being able to get in it and drive it again. The Defender is an interesting beast in that it is a truck, never to be confused with an ordinary automobile. Also, that the people that drive these, as I've said before, belong to almost a religious cult. There is something about the Defender that is not only unique, but draws to it followers that are so passionate about it, they would never dream of driving anything else. While this vehicle is 10 years old, the current models are not really very different at all. They have different engines, gearboxes, but the basic concept is the same. This is a wild and woolly truck. The seats are surprisingly comfortable. They look very bland and plain, but they're surprisingly comfortable on the long run. The trouble is with the Defender, if you're a big man, and I'm not, this post here tends to be quite awkward, and you bash against it, so the only way to drive it comfortably is to then open the window and let your elbow out. That's why you see so many Land Rover drivers with their elbows out. The heater demister cooling system, a very plain air conditioning system which works reasonably well, but the vents are marvelous. Only vehicle in the world where you can actually open and get a direct draft from the bush directly into the cab. That's a lovely feature. Trouble is, the demisting system only works on the passenger side, and they're all the same. I had one for 8 years. If it started raining, I went and got cloths and demisted it by hand. That's a quirk of the vehicle. But when we start looking around the outside of a Defender, one can soon understand why people are so passionate about this vehicle. Firstly, the slab-sided flat nature of it means that adding accessories is an absolute pleasure. Most of the body panels are a kind of alloy, which means they don't rust, or they don't rust as nearly as quickly as mild steel panels, so bolting something to the vehicle is done without fear of rust. If we open the bonnet, now if I remember, my old friend had a bonnet catch down, there it is. Hold on a minute. Now sometimes, if you've got a spare wheel on top, it's so heavy that when you pull the catch, the weight of the spare wheel closes the bonnet again. This is the Rover V8, petrol, 2 SU carburetors, and in those days they didn't cover the engine with cute looking bits of plastic which made it look good in the showroom. They left it open and bare and easier to work on. There's another reason why Land Rovers are so popular with their owners, is they are so easy to work with, particularly the old ones. Much less so the new diesel engines, the electronically controlled diesel engines. Oh, I think I've dented it. Adrian, come and fix your car. I think I've bent this. I assumed mine used to slam closed, so I automatically was this habit, force of habit.
Be a little gentle. She might be a truck, but you still got to treat her with a little bit of respect. Okay.
Push the little. Push the little.
Oh, when we started looking the first time around for an off-road vehicle, we looked for something that was spacious and had over the years had a pretty good reputation. When I say reputation, that it stood the test of time, for want of a better word. I'd seen the British military using them. I'd seen the South African military using them. and they seem to be a go anywhere, anytime vehicle. It was also an easy vehicle to fix, maintain.
Should do. Just a matter of bending this one out.
Well, you know, when you're coming to work on the vehicle, it becomes a passion. Like I said, you know, you start off, I know every inch of my vehicle now. And it just seems to get better and better. The more I put in, the more rewards there are for me at the end of the day, well, for both of us.
So actually I'm going to have to just knock it back in. Let me try that now.
Okay, you've got it.
Yep.
In restoring her, we've enjoyed just about all over South Africa. And, hopefully we're going to have a whole lot more miles ahead of us as well. Knowing that if she does have a problem, we can fix it.
Well done. Manny knows his vehicle.
I mean, I enjoy it as much as he does, and I enjoy the lifestyle. I think when you buy a Land Rover, you're not buying a car, you're buying a lifestyle.
All right, let's go for a drive. So this brings back memories. The Defender is actually wonderful in its own environment. It can carry a load extremely well. But what about the new Defender? Has it changed a lot? Well, not really. The engines are better, they're more powerful, they've got more torque low down, they're definitely a lot more economical. The Land Rover diesel engines are amongst the most economical in their class. But in terms of the vehicle itself, it hasn't changed a lot. In my view, the standard shock absorbers are far, far too soft, and this is the ride. This is a 10-year-old vehicle. The new one doesn't actually feel that different. It's very soft on its suspension, and the best thing you can do with a new Defender is the day you buy it, go and trash those shock absorbers and go and buy yourself some stiff gas shocks. In my view, the biggest drawback of the Defender is the question about its reliability. 20 years ago, Asia, Africa, there were Land Rovers as far as the eye could see, and that's not the case anymore. And the reason for that is that the reliability issue. Where once Land Rovers reigned supreme, I'm afraid it's now Toyotas. And I can honestly say that it's probably the main reason why I don't still drive a Defender. In my mind, the biggest drawback of the Defender is the question about its reliability. 20, 30 years ago, in Africa and Asia, aid organizations, the military, you could see Land Rovers as far as the eye could see. Not anymore. They're all Toyotas now, and it's disappointing because the vehicle is so full of character and really a very good performer. But the reliability issue, I can honestly say, is probably the main reason why I no longer drive a Defender.